Calculation.
Hey, welcome to Banter tonight. My name is Bernard Muhammad. Alongside of me tonight is Tammy Harris, Keith Flournoy, and we got a guest host sitting in with us tonight who watches the program for YouTube, Christian Jones. Below him is Guy Moore, Jay Beasley, and Mike Quick. Oh, I know we got a full panel tonight, but
we like Voltron today.
Right.
Yeah,
like
in the final game of the season, I wanted to bring as many people as possible to talk about this Bears season. Hey, how everybody doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Good.
Doing
Pretty
pretty
good.
good.
Too bad.
Good.
Okay.
I'm all right.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to thank Tammy for getting on tonight. I know she's still a little bit under the weather, but Tammy is a trooper. Just not a pretty face in the place.
The first lady.
First lady is in his house.
Yeah.
For you,
Hey,
I'll make you feel
we
better.
brought Christian on tonight, and we're gonna bring him on again. Christian is a former collegiate quarterback. Played about 3 years of college football. Also played locally at Julian High School. Dynamic,
man.
We won't hold it against you.
Another Julian.
Another Jaguar.
Say that again. Well, winning was the tradition, and the tradition was whooping everybody else. That's the
Police, security.
Hey, that's one of the things about Bears Banter. What we do is from time to time we will bring guests on as far as the co-host and also as part of the interviews. But what I wanted to ask Christian is would he come back in the future in another week or two, and we kind of make an evaluation of what we saw for Justin Fields this year. What do you think about that, Chris?
Yeah, I'm down for it. I love to have that conversation. So,
okay.
At this point, we've had 4 Julian ex-Julian players on. I'm just letting you know. Yeah.
We don't discriminate.
I don't know why some of these other people I'm asking them and then they fake out. So I get Julian. They
probably want the lump blown. They show up.
They came on.
Appreciate the opportunity. I really do.
Okay. Hey, as we get, and I may jump back and forth with a couple of questions as far as quarterback and just tonight. But as we proceed to this game with the Vikings, what are some of the things that y'all come to mind from this season before we actually get to the game? I mean, last year we were 8-8. The year before that we was 8-8, and I believe 2018 we was 12-4. Guy, what is your opinion of this year in totality?
Mismanagement. Too much egotistical decisions being made. I mean, I've said this and I've gone on record to say before, we have a playoff team. You have a coach that won't get out of his own way. He has some people under his employment that are there to do a job. He won't allow them to do their job independently, and he always has to inject some type of advice in there. Well, we had the nice little cover-up in 2018. Yeah, I am getting some feedback right here. That is my ego, by the way. But what it is in 2018, everything was gravy. We 12-4. All people could do is look at the record. Oh, the defense is great, but our offense sucked in. So that goes on Nagy. It goes on a lot of that. I just think that we had a lot of missed opportunities. We got some games where we just got beat up. In this last Vikings game, man, it's like how many opportunities that we get? We almost, screwed up. It was like 5 or 6 opportunities. We've had just things just not go our way. I just think, like I said, take this as what it is. Hopefully next year they could just blow up the people who don't need to make decisions and bring some credible people in there.
Okay. Hey, Tammy, what's your opinion on this year with Chicago Bears?
I think it was a underperforming season for a lot of reasons. I know at the beginning of the season, I think I said the record was going to be 10-7. I still don't, and a lot of people thought that was unrealistic. I don't really think that it was unrealistic. I think that if we hadn't had the injuries, that we had. I'm not going to talk about COVID because every team had to deal with COVID. But I think if we wouldn't have had the injuries that we had, and if we wouldn't have had a lot of the coaching decisions that went on, a 10-7 season was definitely doable. I agree with Guy. I do think that we had a team that could have at least made it to the playoffs. I think that we still had a learning curve, and I think that, in some cases there was some discipline issues where the defense unfortunately cost us some games because of the bogus rules that exist that I think are a little overblown when it comes to taunting and things like that. I think some of it is a bit excessive. And I think some of those, the inability to control themselves from a disciplinary standpoint, knowing that crap is in place, helped contribute to a couple of games going the way that they went. But I mean, I still think that we have some viable players, some good players on our team. I think that we can compete. We just have a couple of holes to fill, and hopefully we fill those holes, and hopefully Monday we make the decision.
Hey, man.
Hallelujah.
Know what next year will look like.
Right. Hey,
Burn the jet sweep.
Hey, quick. What's your opinion on this season?
I think what the whole season has been pure disappointment. I actually said that the Bears were going to win 6 games this year, and right now they stand at 6-10. Looking at what we have for the past couple of years, I think we've done a poor judgment in scouting talent because of what we've done as far as with draft capital and things of that nature. We found some guys, but I think I made a statement on the Facebook page and saying that we've been playing with twos and fews against such and such and so-and-sos as far as like playing against with big name players. I think we could do a little bit more. I also said, what was that yesterday? I'm like that little girl in Rush Hour. Push a goddamn button. Push a button. Push a goddamn button. Hey, it's time for dude to go, man. It's like a bad relationship, man. Every time you look up, that person always does something to irk you or make you feel a certain way, and it's just time to move on. And the only way we can move on is with them bringing in a new coach. Now we do have to be careful what we wish for, because it can always get worse.
Yeah.
And so those are my feelings, and I'm still waiting on them to decide. It's going to be very interesting Monday morning. It's going to be like Christmas. Everybody's going to wake up. The actual Bears Banter Facebook page is going to be lit up with yes, they did or no, they didn't. So it's going to be real interesting because there's no reason to hold. He should be fired after the game on Sunday.
But he should be able to announce it too.
Right.
That would be the cherry on top of it. I'm being fired.
He said he for
treason.
If it's a no, they didn't, it's really going to be a oh, no, they didn't.
Oh, yeah. That's what I said. Push a goddamn button. Push a button.
Hey,
what are we waiting for?
Thank everybody who's watching us tonight on YouTube and Facebook. Like I said, we got a full panel tonight of people talking about the Bears season. And let me go to Plank and see what's your opinion on this season, Plank?
3 words: raging dumpster fire.
Thanos Club.
First of all, let's talk about the general manager of the Bears. He started off with bad cap management and bad player personnel decisions. Letting go of Kyle Fuller, that haunted us the entire year. We had cornerback play where you couldn't wait for the guy to throw the ball against any wide receiver that was going against him. We also let go of Charles Leno, who was not just a serviceable player, but he actually ended up getting an additional extension of his contract over at the Washington football team. Andy Dalton, that was also a dumpster fire because that decision to pay that player $10 million actually propelled a lot of other decisions that happened for the rest of the year. Same thing with keeping those 6 tight ends and making Jimmy Graham be the one that ends up staying. Terrible. Yes. Lastly, player development, and this goes back directly down to coaching. Not letting Justin Fields take any reps in the preseason with the first team was again criminal. Also doing the same thing with Thomas Graham, not seeing that he was a better cornerback than Cal Vender or Duke Shelley. Ridiculous. Then lastly, what happened with Larry Borum and Tevin Jenkins, not letting them get out there when they could have used some sorely used time to develop for next year. This was an entire organizational flop as far as I'm concerned. And that's my 2 cents.
Okay, hey Jay, what about you? What's your opinion on this season?
I got a lot. Y'all know me. I got a lot.
Come on, Jay, bring it.
Player development is one of them. That ain't on the top of the list. The coaching. This coaching staff has been just atrocious. Y'all know I use that word a lot. I use the word a lot, atrocious, because you making decisions that don't really make sense. And if they make sense to you, then they don't make sense to a lot of other people. It's a lot of things that need to be addressed. The general manager thing, which is a whole nother conversation, which I wanted to start the show off with this whole rumor that I heard about Pace being elevated. That's, to me, that's the bigger question. It ain't even about this season, because the bottom line is this season is over. We already know Pace is being fired. Like Guy said, Pace should fire himself. He should come out in the press conference. I don't know if y'all remember that movie Blue Chips. Y'all remember that movie Blue Chips?
Yep.
Where Nick Nolte came out and talked about all the good things, then talked about all the bad things, and then talked about, you know what, I quit. That's what Pace should do on Sunday, immediately after this game. But, player development, Keith mentioned Thomas Graham. I've said to y'all about Jason Peters starting a couple of weeks ago, Thomas Graham not starting over Kendall Vildor and Artie Burns, all these guys that's on these one-year contracts that's not going to even be here again. I said it last week. I'm trying not to be on my soapbox like I said last week. The Bears need a vice president of operations that's telling the general manager, that's telling the head coach, I need you to play these guys. The bottom line, because this season is over. This season is over. I really don't care what happens, win or lose. I just want to see what's going to happen on Monday. Player development is the biggest thing with this coaching staff.
Okay. Yep. Hey, thanks, Jay. Hey, Christian, what's your opinion on the 2021 season?
Disappointing. I agree with everybody saying. Player development, recognizing talent is a big one for me. Just, it just shows the arrogance of Nagy, of knowing that you have the best quarterback on the roster. And from draft day to all the way to training camp, you have over 100 days to put in an offensive system around him, because he's better than Andy Dalton. He's better than Nick Foles. And you had all this time. You had many seasons to say, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Let me get somebody in here that does know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Because he had Pat Mahomes. Plank said it last week. He only had 5 games. You go back, do your research. He only had 5 games of being an offensive coordinator. He had 1 game where they scored over 25 points. And then after that, it was terrible. And Pace hired this man after he was heavily scrutinized in that AFC Championship game, and he got a job. So you had Pat Mahomes, Mitch Trubisky, Nick Foles, then Andy Dalton, and we can't score over 14 points. That's a problem. Mm-hmm. So, it's so much stuff that you can do with Justin Fields. And I'm going to say this and then I'm done because I have so many points, but Mike Shanahan, Mike Tomlin, 2 coaches that I want to just bring, and then I'm going to shut up. Mike Shanahan scrapped his offense. He runs a different form of West Coast offense than Coach Nagy. He went to Baylor, and they spent a whole 2 months, him and his son, figuring out an offense to run for RG3.
Yep.
How many games did they win? With a rookie quarterback and a rookie running back. Okay. Ding. All right. Mike Tomlin, he comes from under the Tony Dungy tree. He runs straight Tampa 2. He gets to Pittsburgh, who's that? Dick LeBeau. What they run? 3-4. Look how many winning seasons. So it's not that hard. If you don't know what you're doing, that doesn't mean that you can't be a good coach. You just got to be honest with yourself and be like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing. Let me get somebody that's in here that can like be better than what I am. So it's just disappointing that the Bears continue to let this go on for so long. And it's just like, man, like, it's just irritating because like, and I feel like they trying to like insult the fans' intelligence. Like we the consumer, we the ones that's paying to watch the game, get cable, and come to the game, and y'all want us to keep watching this foolishness? Nah, come on. We might not know the X's and O's, but we not stupid. This is terrible.
If you're a good coach, you get out the way. You get out of the way and let people who you've hired to be the special teams coordinator, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator. You put these people in place and let them do their job. And that's the thing. That's the thing, you know, again, I digress. Tammy, you called me out last week, man. You gonna fight? We gonna fight. But I'm gonna tell you, you know,
from the draft to training camp, over 100 days.
So, Kristen, you could just go and hit that send button on monster.com for that Bear spot. Might as well. I mean, I'm just a bit laughing because you were a quarterback. And when I hear you talk, and this ain't blowing smoke up your butt, but this is just common sense. I hear you as an ex-quarterback speaking in the context of what I like to hear a coach who was a former quarterback, how he should approach his job. And I'm looking at Nagy in I'm saying him. That's what I'm saying. It's how he does. The way he approaches it is a former quarterback. And his whole first thing was, hey, I do my job. I let my guys, offensive coordinator, whatever it is, I let them do what they're supposed to do. I get out of my way. I'm the coach of men. I'm the coach of the whole team. But unfortunately, Nagy shouldn't even say he was an ex-quarterback. He should have just said he's like a water boy or something. Because now saying you're a quarterback and we thinking you're going to come out here and run some straight up tight offense and be able to make adjustments, dude, I could run that team better than you.
I question if he's a quarterback, literally, because this whole, like everybody been saying, get rid of the Wildcat. I agree. But this bash counter stuff that he be doing with the running back, he could do that with Justin. So I question if he was a quarterback because this is the best offensive weapon you have on the field. And if you run the Wildcat with him, my God, you can do some nasty stuff with that.
Yeah, you know, one of the things
I question if he was. I mean, I don't know. I ain't never seen the man play, so I don't know. But
he wasn't good.
I don't know.
He wasn't that good.
Blink, and if it wasn't funny, you look the same way. That's what it looks like.
But what you have to have is an innovative mind. And see, you know, that's the thing when people talk about offensive coordinators. I look at their scheme and do you have an innovative mind? And because the plays that you're running, I'm looking at them like this ain't even innovative. This is like elementary, basic stuff. You know how people on defense, when they talk about Vic Fangio, they talk, he got exotic blitzes. I don't see anything.
Nothing ain't exotic about Nagy's. Nothing.
With Nagy's offense, that's innovative. You know, anybody can run the Wildcat, especially if you're running the Wildcat and you snapping it to the running back that's going to actually run the damn football. So, you know what I'm saying? So I you know, in 2018, when Nagy won Coach of the Year, and I said this, you know, on the last show, you know, he had these plays where it seemed like he was being innovative. You know, you had the Santa Slay, and you had the lineman who's not here no more. I can't remember his name. He caught a couple of touchdowns that year. You know, it was things that we was like, okay, this guy is bringing a little innovation to the offense. He has digressed. Over the last 3 years. It is just unacceptable.
Hey, Jay, as far as that particular point, he did confirm on in his press conference on Monday, there was a question about that particular play as far as Montgomery throwing that pass on that Wildcat. And his answer pretty much was, you know, when you win and, you know, you could kind of take chances, which goes back to what you had said, that he looked at like he was being innovative in 2018 because why? they were ahead in those games, and he was willing to do stuff. Because you remember there was times where he seemed like he wasn't even going to punt in 2014, right? You know, he's going for it on fourth down, and you know, bad situations, but he's making it. But
it seems like I said,
those are not really like risky plays when you're winning. But as far as 2021,
just
one
like
of the things that made me kind of confused right at the beginning of the season was how they wanted to use Justin Fields. When you go back and think about the beginning of the season, soon as the Bears got in the red zone, they would bring Justin Fields in for one play. The one play was very puzzling because it wasn't like he ran the ball or they used anything that was his asset. They just brought him in and ran the play sometimes. Sometimes he came in and gave a handoff. And you think like, okay, he came in just to give a handoff? That makes no sense. So to me, that's where I kind of started seeing and looking at him like, is this going to be like what we're going to see out of Justin Fields in 2021? Which that's all they plan on doing until Andy Dalton got hurt. Which you're going to pay a quarterback and give up that many draft picks for him to come off the bench just to run one play in the red zone, and you think you're getting him experience. So that really didn't make sense. But hey, Jay, let me let you make that comment, then we're going to move on to this game.
Okay, I just want to piggyback on what you just said. Just like I said last week, you know, it's easy to be innovative when you're winning. Like last week, the flea flicker. You up 20 points, and now you're running the flea flicker. What was that flea flicker when you was down 10 points against the Rams? What was that flea flicker? Because you're not confident in what you're calling as an innovative play caller / head coach. Where was that when you needed it? You didn't need that last week. So it just lets me know, Tammy, it lets me know that I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
They didn't run a flea flicker. They didn't run a flea flicker down by 10 because they flicked the flea and killed him.
Hey, thank everybody for watching us tonight on YouTube and Facebook. And also, please subscribe to Bears Banter if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on Facebook,
hit the button. Hit the
Bears
button.
Banter Facebook page. Push that button right
down at the bottom. There you go, Quick. Push the button.
Hey, I know a lot of us is kind of checked out of this last game. You know, we just watching it because of the fans. So I'm just going to ask this question for those who want to answer. They can. If you don't want to answer it, you can say I don't care. What do the Bears need to do to win this game? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first, and I got the perfect answer. Hire some male cheerleaders so we can watch the female cheerleaders and the women can watch the male cheerleaders, and just hope that the guys do great. Just being silly, but I just want the guys to go out and just play hard. You know, I'm not looking for nothing specific. Like you guys have mentioned this ad nauseum. Let's see some rookies play, and they didn't do that. You know, you want to see what you got left. Like Jay was saying, you got guys with 1-year contracts. To be perfectly honest with you, this would be a perfect game for all of them to sit, because it's like, you know what? We may sign you. What you did this season is good enough or not good enough for us to re-sign you. Let's look at who we going to have here. Get the rookies, because if we get blown out 56-3, it won't matter. At least we'll have an eye test and get to see what we have to look forward to. This game right now, I'm probably going to be drinking the whole game.
I'm actually going to be at work. I'll join y'all.
Same difference.
I will join y'all for the post game. This will be the first Bears game that's at 12 o'clock that I'm actually going to work this year. I'm so done.
That's bad.
Yeah, it is. It doesn't matter. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Absolutely. This time, absolutely. It doesn't really matter on Sunday. I will be looking forward to seeing who's in the starting lineup and who's not. Which again, I'm talking about the Thomas Grahams and the Daz Newsomes that's to be elevated. All these guys, Jason Peters should be sitting on the sideline. He should not start this game. Artie Burns should be sitting on the sideline. He shouldn't be starting this game. I want to see the guys that's actually gonna be here, because this is a valuable game for them to get some game experience. I hate that Justin Fields is not going to be able to play this week, because I would have wanted to see him play, even though it's a meaningless game. Every rep counts, and you could look forward to him having this last game going into the next season, so the next coach can evaluate his last game and be like, okay, you know what? I saw this against the Vikings. He need to do this. He need to do that. But outside of that, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. I just want to see some young players playing this game.
Okay, you want to see some of your
And cheerleaders.
players play. Hey, hey, Christian, I want to ask you a question real quick. As far as quarterback, I know what you can come in collegiate, and you probably was red-shirted your first year. I mean, how important are those reps for a quarterback to understand the offense?
It's very important. I actually feel bad for Justin because next year is going to be his rookie season. This year was incomplete.
Right.
I'm gonna say it again, like it's incomplete because this offense, it don't work, and none of the stuff that he does, it's like some of the stuff is that they do, like they be running all hitch a lot. And you go back and you watch the game, you'll see like, dang, that's like our favorite player. Like they like insult this kid with like these high school routes. Like Coach Mike could tell you, some of these route trees that they run, we done in high school. I'm dead serious. I've done more complex stuff at a Division II school than he does right now in the NFL. And I'm not even being funny. I'm dead serious.
You're being serious.
Coach, get on here. Coach Mike can tell you it's incomplete. Like he didn't really get an opportunity to really get his feet wet and learn. But you can't tell like how intelligent he is because after the games and they ask him questions about coverages, you can tell him like, oh, it's a big difference between him and Mr. Trubisky, because Mr. Trubisky say, gotta watch the tape. Justin, he'll break down from the coverage to the defense. It's a difference. Like coverage and reading the defense is two different things. When you're reading the defense, especially with the West Coast offense, you race it off the front and then you go on the back end with the coverage. So you can tell with him, like, okay, yeah, he's starting to get it. So that's why the reps is important. So you can get your timer down. So you can really like get full like live bullets at this level, because these guys that you playing, everybody like that. This the best of the best of whatever school they came from. So it's the difference. Like you can't just be out there and just hit a guy because he wide open. Like, nah, you got to throw that thing at a spot, and you got to trust and believe that he's gonna be there. And I just think that, man, it just sucked that he went in the offense that, man, he could really do what he does well, which is throw the deep ball. And he could have been like, all right, I know I can do this well at this level. So next year, I'm gonna focus on another part of my game. And I just feel bad for him because, man, I could be out there with my out of shape self running this. What they doing for real? For real.
Hey, can I ask you a question, Chris? And correct me if I'm wrong. I look at a lot of intangibles at rookie quarterbacks and new quarterbacks that come in. I think it was maybe the second or third game, Justin Fields threw a back shoulder fade in the end zone. And I was telling them, I said, I know some quarterbacks right now that's Pro Bowl quarterbacks that couldn't throw that throw. I was looking at that and it just blew my mind. And people were looking like, oh, it's just a throw. It ain't the fact that he threw it. It's where the ball was. And I'm like, this is a rookie. That's what he got in his bag. And that's what frustrates the hell out of me.
The way I, view quarterbacks is you got, guys that just come out that are just straight prodigies, like Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning. They just come out, they just can play. Like you saw them in college and they do that. And then you got like the second tier, the guys that like develop a little bit. And I ain't trying to, disrespect Aaron Rodgers, but he wouldn't like that at Cal. But he has to season himself. And then you see some of those off-platform throws that he make, and then you see Justin, you be like, yeah, we got one. Because today, quarterbacking, you got to be able to do that in order to win a championship. You got to be able to throw off of either leg, be able to do off-script type of improv things when things are breaking down, and we got one. So, yeah, to answer your question, like, he got all the intangibles. He just needs to get with somebody who's going to let him do him. we finally got that right. I truly see that. Mitch, they should have drafted me. I was mad. Like, why y'all ain't draft me, man? Shoot. I could have stole that money. What you mean? That dude had one season at NC State. You don't draft no quarterback in that conference unless they play tight competition.
Christian, it's not even that.
Was the 1-year starter.
It's not even that. It's not even that. It's not even that. I just want to say this. Mitch Trubisky is the only quarterback in NFL history that's been drafted as high as he's been drafted, as high as he was drafted with the minimum amount of experience.
10 or 12
games. Let's just look at this. He was the
in the NFL history.
Jay, he was the number 2 pick overall, but he was the 3rd team ACC quarterback. He wasn't even the top guy in his conference.
Yeah. And the sad thing about that, the sad thing about that is he was the number 1 rated quarterback in that draft.
Yeah,
he was the 3rd quarterback in his conference. With the least amount of starts in NFL history to be drafted that high, and he was the number 1 ranked quarterback in that draft. How does that happen?
Y'all like Ryan Pace. Y'all don't like Ryan Pace.
The scouting is bad.
What's that, Christian?
Teams today don't really be like evaluating talent. They go with what people say, and they see a trend happening.
The P word.
It was disrespectful to Deshaun Watson, who beat Alabama. Alabama every year has about 12 dudes that come in playing straight defense start. These dudes you can say in the next 30 years going to be Hall of Fame selections. How does a guy beat Alabama convincingly? He threw for like 3-something. And y'all saying he's not the number 1? That didn't make no sense to me. That didn't make no sense.
And almost did it the year before that.
Which is why I know this whole thing is going off what we was talking about. But which is why I'm not mad at Ryan Pace for drafting Mr. Trubisky. I'm not, because guess what? Mr. Trubisky again was the number 1 rated quarterback in the draft. And Ryan Pace thought he was going to find that diamond in the rough. Patrick Mahomes was rated the 5th rated quarterback in that draft. Who would have thought?
Yeah,
that's why I'm not mad at him about that. I'm not mad at him about that.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at him about that.
You know what? I'm actually mad. I'm mad at him for that because, and I'm gonna get us back on point. I'm mad at it because if that was his pick, he should have just picked him when it fell to him. It was not enough there to trade up 1 slot and to mortgage your future, especially from a team the previous year that had, I believe, only had just won 5 games under John Fox. Well, I think the record was something like 5-11. So in really looking at that team, you kind of said, I think they still got a good defense, but you really didn't quite know coming out of John Fox because it was just so unproductive under John Fox. And so you're mortgaging future first-round picks just to move 1 slot for a draft that had quarterbacks that if you didn't get him, what was the worst-case scenario?
You could have got somebody else.
You could have got Deshaun Watkins or Mahomes. That was going to be the worst scenario if that was your guy as far as Mitch. So I am mad at him because not only he gave up those draft picks for that next year,
Jay, you ain't
he turned around and did the same thing because he says we're ready. So he did the same thing in the following year to trade to get Mac. And then he turned around again and gave up picks. And so unless a team is a Super Bowl team, you can't afford to keep mortgaging first-round picks. And then you make it even more complicated because even in latter rounds, he's giving up other picks to move up into the draft to get another person in that draft, right? You're giving up a 4th-round pick just to move up a few slots in the 3rd round. So I am mad about that. But in reference to this,
It looked like Jay looked like he could have been in the Silvers. He looked like he got a big throat on him. You can tell your wife 30 minutes from now. She asked to cut the lights on. Nah,
hey, Jay looking like Luda. What up, Luda?
Luda. Look like he got a soul, like a big throat, like boogie fever.
Hey, let's move into the let's look at some of the rankings in the game. Let's add this to the thing. Hopefully we can read this. Let's look at the Bears offense and defense. Let me get on my reading glasses, or can somebody read that other than me?
I can read it.
Okay, go on, take it.
The offense is ranked 28th. They average 18.4 points. Their average rushing yards a game is 120.5. Average passing yards per game is 183.8. Their defense is ranked 5th. They allow only 23.5 points a game. They average 126.4 yards rushing per game, and they allow 189.4 passing yards per game. On the other side, with the Vikings, their offense ranked 13th. They average 24.6 points a game. Rushing yards per game, 114.1. Average passing yards per game, 250.7. Their defense is ranked 30th. They allow 25.6 points a game. Their rushing average per game is 133.3, and they allow 252.1 passing yards per game.
Okay. And let's look at the injury report. Injury report is not necessarily an injury, but Justin Fields is on the COVID list, so he's out. Akeem Hicks is out. Eddie Goldman, finger is questionable. Robert Quinn, shoulder, questionable. Duke Shelley, heel, questionable. As far as the injury report I saw, the only person I actually saw that is out of the doubt, he's actually going to be out the game, is Michael Pierce. I think they said he was out.
I think so.
The quarterback, Kirk Cousins, actually cleared the COVID list, so he's actually probably is going to play in the game. I don't know if that makes any difference or not, but look like we lost Jay. So looking at that, I mean, what do y'all think? I mean, I know, like I said, what you got, Plank?
Yeah, I want to answer that question of what can the Bears do to win this week. First thing they need to do is look at this as what it really is. This is still a rivalry game. As a matter of fact, Minnesota is probably our closest rival in that division. Green Bay has run away with it. There's no rivalry there. Green Bay takes our lunch every week. There's no rivalry with the Detroit Lions either. But Minnesota Vikings, every time we play against those guys, you can see that all of the Bears are geeked up and they're really trying to beat them. So if they remember that, I think we got a good opportunity to go ahead and beat them. I'm done with that.
Okay. That's a good point.
Back, y'all.
We are probably closer to a rivalry. I agree with them than Green Bay. And the interesting thing is the Vikings see themselves more as a rivalry with the Packers, right? I don't see it because they dominate the Packers. The Packers dominate them just as much as they dominate us. And you know what? And I'm going to go backtrack for a minute. Going back to the 2021 season. I think that was the second most disappointing thing this year was to hear Aaron Rodgers say he owned us.
Yeah.
To me, that had to be the lower point, because it seemed like the players were okay with that.
He's not wrong.
Something you do your best, you can't do nothing about it. But it didn't seem like publicly it bothered them.
Let's play Where Is the Lie right now.
Right.
It bothered them.
Look,
I mean, couldn't do nothing about it.
That's like Debo took your lunch money. You hungry?
Be upset about it that you still seem like you should try to. You're gonna do your best, but to me it just seemed like they were just okay with it. I think that's what bothered me. It didn't seem like the players almost like, yeah, he do own us, right?
I would. I mean, if I'm on that Bears team and I got that coach, I'll be like, man, it is what it is. We playing with it for real. I mean, come on, man. We might as well stay on the bus. We already know these plays ain't gonna work.
Right.
And then just capping up the 2021 season, there is no game that we actually physically went in. Us as Bears fans, us as panelists on this show, we be like, well, I think the Bears gonna win this game. There is not one game I went into, even home, as I walked into that stadium, I was confident, like, oh, we're going to win this game. Not one game on the schedule.
There's one when we scrimmage ourselves.
Not one game on the schedule. I was looking at it, I was like, you know what? We're going to win this game.
Right.
Not one. Not one. So that's this coaching staff, man, look, let me tell you.
So
it's over. It's over.
Did the defense get better this year with Desai?
Look at how that look at how that worked. 5th rank.
You know what? You know what, Quick? You know what, Quick? You want to keep talking about the side, but if you look at the numbers, I always say the numbers can lie, but if you look at the numbers, they actually did. They actually did. Look what the Bears defense. Look what the Bears are. The Bears are ranked defensively, and that's what everybody go about. They go about the numbers.
Did they get better with the side? I mean, our turnover ratio is not where it normally is because we've always needed the defense. We've always needed the defense to score for us to win games. When you go back to 2018,
absolutely,
I can't remember how many points the defense scored. But a lot of those wins,
they had 7 defensive touchdowns and 36 turnovers.
A lot of those wins came off of the defense scoring because we still was averaging 2 touchdowns a game.
It sound like the ladies want to hear from Tammy. I understand that.
Come on, Tammy.
That's my big sister. Brenda, my big sister. Y'all better do it.
I know the guys been over talking to you tonight.
Well, to what Mike was saying, the defense was scoring, but special teams was also averaging 6-7 points too. So it was in 2018, it was a team effort, and the defense, yes, they were a part of it. Did the defense get better? I think the defense did get better because last year the defense, we dogged the defense a lot, and their overall performance, they weren't getting it done. And if the secondary had been stronger, this year, then the defense would have really showed out, I think, because our front seven was pretty good most of the year. But I did want to say a couple things, but I wasn't trying to talk too much. Everybody's acting like Minnesota is like this great team. I mean, they're freaking 7-9. Like, why is it like, oh my God, we can't beat Minnesota? They won one more game than us, so give me a break. This game could go either way, and it's totally doable because Minnesota ain't got it, ain't got their act together either. So if we go in with a viable game plan, if our defense shows up, and if we run the ball the way that we can win this game. I don't doubt that because Minnesota ain't really stopping anybody. And to the Green Bay thing, Green Bay is a rivalry. They are our oldest rival. Yes, they've kicked our butt for the last 20 years, unfortunately, but you can't just throw away the fact that we kicked their butt for 70 years. And now everybody's just in the dumps, and I get it. I'm in the dumps too. I don't like this crap either. But we dominated them for a long time. Now we've gotten a little payback. When we get a few more pieces in place, we're going to come back and we're going to kick their butt on a regular again.
Okay.
All right. You go, girl.
What I would like to see in this game is I would like to see that the Bears offensively be able to capitalize on one of the worst defenses in the league. I like to see. I think they give up 25.6 points a game, and I would like to see the Bears offense. That's why I wish Justin, in my opinion, could have played because I think he hasn't won a game since the Detroit game, and I would have loved to see him have a good performance and to end the season on a high note as far as maybe throwing for a couple of touchdowns. But since that's not going to happen, but still offensively, I like to see the Bears really just play like it's nothing to lose in trying to win at this point, even though it's meaningless win, because I really want to evaluate the Bears receiving core because I believe next year the only body who's still under contract, I believe, is Darnell Mooney. As far as receivers, I think all the other Bears receivers are all free agents next year. So I really want to see if there's anybody in there that they will bring back, because when I look at the Bears receiving core, to me they need some more size. They got a lot of speeds, and they have a lot of guys that kind of look alike, right? I mean, you could almost take a couple of their jerseys and put it on the other guy, and they look
the same.
Yeah, they need a couple of big body guys that can actually go up and catch the ball. So in this game, I do want to see how the Bears end this season, because I thought about it today that they might have kept it in house, but I noticed through the losing streak, I never heard anything about there was a players only meeting, right? You know, those type of things when NFL teams or teams start losing, you know, and I know sometimes it's able to keep and stuff in house, but you never really heard about that. And that's the problem I had with last year, because when the Bears management just gave an explanation of why they retained the coach and the manager, they cited how well the team stuck together through a losing streak. And my concern is you actually, to me, accepting a loser's mentality by saying that, because you should be upset when you're losing. It doesn't matter. You know what? I just think about when we played, I was mad. If we lost games, I was mad at the coach. I was mad at myself. I was mad at the other players. You know what? And I was used to winning. At most time I ever played in my life in any sports, even coaching, I was used to either get to championships or winning trophy. Getting to the championship, winning, or at least getting there and losing it. I can remember one year coaching, my first year coaching youth football, and we won 3 games. I was so pissed off. I mean, I was just like, you know, like, man, I'm not even used to this losing like this. Next year, we won the Super Bowl at that level. You know, I'm not saying, you know, I played a big part to it, but winning is a mentality. That's the main point I'm trying to think. Just like losing become a mentality. And when you start accepting losing, that's why you can have this year a 5-game losing streak. Last year you had a 6-game losing streak. Then this year you end up having a 3-game losing streak after having a 5-game.
After the 5-game losing streak, so right?
What you were seeing is this coaching staff is trending towards losing streaks are part of what they do, and it's interesting that if you take a team like Minnesota, who only won 1 game more, that how you could kind of almost end up in the same place as another team, but you kind of got there in a different way, right? And to me, it all comes down at the end. It doesn't make that much difference, but in reality, it does sometimes, because teams who develop losing streaks tend to have losing streaks all the time under that coaching staff. Like you can take a change like Detroit, it's guaranteed almost every year. It doesn't matter who's coaching Detroit. They're gonna have this long losing streak. And it's a culture that they have that no matter what coach they have so far that they go through this. But hey, let's get to the predictions. Who's ready for
can I just say real quick, Bernard? I was just gonna say real quick. We talk about the old Bears. Bears are going to play. I want to say it was the Patriots or whatever it was, and they was asking Steve when they walked in. McMichael, he picked up a computer, something just threw it up against the wall. Everybody in that locker room knew they was going to win that game. Give you another example. There's a team right now in the NFL that made history this year. They lost 7 in a row, and they won 7 in a row. It's Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins.
Want to know why they won 7 in a row after they lost? Because they had some vets up in there, and the vets wasn't having it. You got guys now, like you said, I haven't heard anything about players-only meetings and stuff like that. It just seems like the whole culture, man, has got to be – you just got to be reworked. But you're right. You're 100% right, B.
Hey, what you got? What's your pick?
Just to
piggyback.
I'm sorry.
What my prediction?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Just to piggyback off what Tammy said, real quick. She was talking about everybody talking about the Vikings. They're not as good as us. Guess what? They coach gonna be fired Monday too.
So they're going out for drinks.
I didn't exactly.
Okay, go ahead, guys.
Y'all gonna hate me for this.
But I'm saying they won one more game. They won one more game than us, but guess what? They coach gonna be fired Monday too. So
go ahead, my dad. I think the Bears are better than. I think they're better than the Vikings. They have everything, but with injuries, last game we really don't have quote unquote anything to play for. And then if you do like different types of math, 3 times 2 is 6 plus 4 and 8 and all this other stuff, it's a possibility that Minnesota might even sort of smell a playoffs game. And they're playing Minnesota. I got it 23-20 Minnesota.
23-20?
I know. I made you call. 23-20.
Okay. Hey,
right.
Christian, what about you? What do you have?
For blowing that smoke over there on you, Jay.
We lost the last time we played them, and we only scored 9 points. And like Plank said last week, we played the Giants, and playing that style of defense is not sustainable as far as like the turnovers, the way that we got them. So I got us losing 18-14. I got us scoring 1 touchdown.
Okay. 1 touchdown. Tammy, what do you have?
Well, I'm still kind of on the fence. I was getting caught up on who was going to win, but I'm going with the Bears because Minnesota ain't all of that. We split with them. Yes, it wasn't a great performance the last game, but we split with them because it's our 3rd time playing them, if I'm not mistaken. I think we played them 3 times this year.
No.
It felt like we played them 3 times this year.
Right. No.
Okay. Well, I still think that we're gonna win. I don't think it's gonna necessarily be a very high scoring game on either side. So I'll say something like 17-13, and I'm going with the Bears. And I meant to say, shout out to Brenda for acknowledging that I wanted to say something.
Oh, we in trouble, y'all.
No, it's fine.
Hey, what's up, Candy? Can you fit us in? We ain't heard from you in a minute. He has the Bears winning 17-14. Hey, Jay, what do you have?
Y'all gonna laugh at me when I say this. This gonna be a high scoring affair because don't nobody care. It's gonna be a high scoring affair because don't nobody care. I'm telling y'all, 35-26, Bears win.
Hey man, what are you over there smoking? The Bears gonna score 35 points.
35
points. Their quarterback.
35 points. Well, Andy Dalton, their quarterback. Man, they're gonna score 35 points.
Whatever you got in that ashtray, throw it out right now. What is wrong with you?
What you have, Quick?
I ain't got that. Hell no. Man, shoot. One thing I know for sure. One thing for certain, 2 things for sure is that with Andy Dalton at quarterback, it ain't gonna happen. So I have he beat the Giants. Woo!
Woo!
Whoop-de-mo-do. Anyway.
Happy New Year.
26-13 Vikings. They are at home on turf, and we're gonna have to. And here's my caveat. The last time we played them, the normal guys in the secondary wasn't playing.
Right.
Eddie Kane and the Heartbeats are back out there this Sunday.
And Kendall
Vilhor, he's back out there sticking Justin Jefferson. 26-13 Vikings. I said the Bears are going to win 6 games this year. Looks like 6 games this year.
I'm with you, Square. I had him 6-11
What
too.
about you, Plank? What you have?
Jalen Johnson going to be on Justin Jefferson, though.
They got Adam Thielen, too.
Why are you even asking me what this
All right.
is?
2-0.
Chicago Bears 2, Vikings 0. I'm done.
Hey,
Okay.
your score closer than Jay's. I tell you that.
I'm gonna go with Jay. I'm gonna go with Jay in this game. I think the Bears gonna get some turnovers. Kirk Cousins going to end the season by throwing a couple of turnovers. I think if Quinn ended up playing, he's going to put some pressure on him. So I'm not going to contribute all these points to the Bears offense. I think these are going to be scores by the defense. I have the Bears winning 34-23.
34.
I'm going out
Hey
there.
man, listen.
Is
So,
Matt
let me-
Nagy quarterbacking?
For
Let me recap real quick, y'all. I know we got a
For a
full
guy
week
who
tonight.
ain't-
It's a little bit more
a guy
hard.
who don't drink, man, that's a hell of a score.
That
I have
is.
Guy. I got Guy picking the Bears 23-20. I have Christian picking. I'm sorry, a guy picked the Vikings 23-20. Christian picked the Vikings 18-14. Tammy picked the Bears 17-13. I picked the Bears 34-23. Quick picked the Vikings 26-13. Plank picked the Bears 2-0. And Jay picked the Bears 25-26.
No, 35.
35.
Where
26.
Jay come up with 35 points from? Really?
Hey,
35.
that remind me of the Mac. 35,000 plus 1 plus the 6 you gave me.
Can you make that?
35 points.
I'm not gonna keep this tonight because if I would really like if everybody have time, I really would like to come back Monday. And even though I know we got the show Sunday after the game, but if y'all have time, if we get an announcement on Monday as far as firing, I really don't want to wait till Friday to talk about it. I would like to
let's
talk
go
about
now.
it Monday. So, hey, let's y'all can put that on your agenda. What you have, Tammy?
This isn't football related. I actually just want to send a quick shout out. Thank you to my best friend. Everybody should be as lucky to have a best friend as I have. We've been friends for almost 35 years. And in the last 2 weeks, he's taken really, really good care of me, dropping
What's
off
his name?
food. Look, Charles, we went to Limbo.
All right.
Dropped off medicine, dropped off vitamins, dropped off juice, dropped off whatever I needed. And then tonight, called and said, open the door, drop me off some food. So, because I'm finally back kind of eating. So he was like, I just wanted to bring you some food because you ain't been eating. So,
well, that's good. That's good.
Hey,
Good job,
good.
Charles.
That's
That's
good.
the same with Charles that took 2 hours to come up with a prediction that time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, and
I do want to give a shout out, and I don't know, and I don't think we said anything, but Sidney Poitier, rest in peace, brother.
Yeah.
Sidney Poitier died today, 94 years old. I do want to acknowledge
Thank
that.
you, man. Thank you.
Hey,
yeah.
the
was-
piggyback off of Tammy, man. When you going through this whole sickness thing, and my shout out is to Bernard, man. When he found out I was sick, I think he went to every medicine store in America and was like, dog, I got pills in your mailbox. Like, I get the special juice, drink this, take these, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't even know what to do with all this stuff.
Hey,
But
and
you
know
gotta
what?
have somebody.
Hey, can I
Compassion.
piggyback off Jay? I think it would be remiss for us not to say anything about Sidney Poitier because, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
look at his career. I mean, stellar. As a black man, I'm proud to have known that we had somebody like him back for us to show us that you can wear a suit. You can play any genre of character that you want to, but you could do it with dignity. He stood up for us in the civil rights movement. He's always been about us. And he transitioned, and I think we would be remiss if we didn't. So rest in power.
Absolutely.
Can I say
Absolutely.
something?
And let me say
Bernard?
thank you to all the guys here too for checking on me, especially Bernard, because I think Bernard was checking on me like every day and said, "Are you taking this? Did you take this?" So I appreciate y'all too.
Yeah, hey, I even put
Absolutely.
Charles at work one day. I was like, tell the Charles he needs to drop this by the house.
Oh, yeah.
What you got, Chris?
I was like, hey.
I just want to say, Coach Mike is the reason why I went to Miles College and I graduated, and I never said thank you for that. Thank you, because he wasn't even my coach at the time, and he the reason why I went. He saw me. It was like going track season because I was running my senior year. He's like, "You think about going to college?" I was like, "No." He asked me what my grades was. I was embarrassed. He's like, "Come to my office." I went down there to his office at A.S. McKinley, and my dad. And I was like, it wasn't looking good for me. I had 3 schools. He knew all I'm talking about. And I was like, Miles College. And he told me what it was, AME school. I'm like, I don't want to go there. He was like, you going? So I win. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you for real.
I love
man.
that, man. That's
My
what's
man.
Got me in
up.
college and
Great job.
graduated for real.
I
I'll never forget that for real.
Wait, who did
My
he say?
main Charles, huh?
Who did he say?
He was
Mike.
Coach
talking
Mike.
about me. Yeah. Hey, let me tell you something. Just real quick before we end. My main charge in life, you find your calling, and my main charge is to make sure that African American men are educated. My dissertation for my doctoral degree, pray that I graduate in October, but it is the retention strategies to improve the retention rates of African American male college students. But and furthermore to that, man, I want to make sure that brothers are educated. I know you. I was there when you first came into Julian High School. My charge and all of the guys that played at Julian under me, after me, before me, is nothing but love. We talk about Jaguar pride. I know you guys from Limblom have a tight niche, but man, let me tell you something. If you play football at Julian, it's like the mob, man.
Yeah.
It's the mob. I
Yeah.
just went to dog restaurant. Man, take this food, man. Get you something to eat. Go. You know, it's nothing but love. So I appreciate it, man.
Oh, that's great
We
stuff.
talk trash
appreciate
about
you.
other public league schools, but you know what? We
We
jump on
recognize.
other people that try to talk about public
There you
league
go.
schools because
Good
we
job.
know what y'all had to do to get to where y'all had to be. So
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Bernard, I didn't send you this, but because I didn't get to do everything that I wanted to do. But the poll right now, 65% of the fans are picking the Bears, 35% are picking the Vikings.
All
So
right.
30 Bears, 16 Vikings.
He said, "What about Homewood Flossmoor love?"
oh, we give you
Hey,
love.
you know what? We actually had a Julian coach on, player last year on who was
Yeah,
actually
Kevin
an
Murray.
HF
Yeah.
coach. Yeah, Kevin.
I'm sorry,
I can't remember
physique.
his- I always call him physique. Kevin Murray.
Hey,
Kevin Murray.
I always
came
call him
on
Kevin
from
Murray.
Homewood
Physique is my
Flossmoor.
guy. Physique
He
is
was
my
one of the
guy,
coaches we
man.
brought on.
Yeah,
Go, Ma.
that's my. Hey, watch your mouth now. Watch your mouth now. You look outnumbered right now. Don't do that. Now, don't do that.
Hey,
My
it
rule-
is what it is. It is what it is.
You're a little outnumbered now. Let's calm down.
So
All right.
we'll see
I
everybody
am
on
outnumbered.
Sunday after the Bears play Minnesota. It's a noon game, so we should be on approximately about 3:30. And we'd like to thank everybody who tune us in each week and sit with us for an hour. And also, I'd like to bring up this last point before we close out. Bears Banner hit another milestone this week. This last show hit 2,000 views in a single show. Awesome job, guys. So, hey, let's keep doing good work. And we're working on a special Black History Month program, and we're going to iron that out. And I'm sure it's going to be a dynamic program,
Please tune in.
conversation, and I know y'all going to enjoy it. So have a nice evening. Peace.